Okay, I think we're on live. Maybe. If you are on live, I would love to see your comments. Come in, say hey, so I can see who's here. Bringing up my notes here. Well, let me just get this. Hey, Amy, Heather. So glad you guys are here. I love it when there's somebody on live to help tell me what is going on. So I'm just moving my screen around so that I can see your guys' comments and my notes and all the things. Violet and Siri, you guys are all awesome. Thank you. Oh my gosh, my screens are not working with me. Stop. Here we go. Okay, I think we're good now. Everybody having a good weekend? Let me turn my light on. Oh, let there be light. All right, so let's just dive right in. We've got some people on live. We've got comments going on, but unfortunately I've moved my thing, so I can't see all the comments. Now I gotta move it back. Jeez. Jeez, Robin, get your act together. Always a balancing act with multiple screens. Oh, Christy's here too. Awesome. How are you, Christy? So good to have you guys all here. So we're gonna just jump right in. A lot of you saw my post yesterday talking about how when I did my life coaching stuff, I just, because of a mentor, right? Like, she's like, how about you just do something big for you, by you, and you don't have to tell anyone about it. Not that that's, and I explained about, that doesn't mean we don't ask for support, but like, it was different for me. I knew I had a problem. Like, so if you don't know me, my name is Robin Whitworth, and I run this group, the Elevated Mother Collective. I run the Elevated Mother Experience program and some of the advanced programs with clients that have graduated from that, and the Solid Ground program. And I am a life coach for Christian moms. It is not something that I ever saw in my wheelhouse of things that I was going to do years ago. But as I did all sorts of different things, I found that the common denominator was me being able to see patterns from other people, me being able to see patterns within myself, key awareness, and then when I went and did life coaching certification, I'm like, oh, this is totally my thing. This all comes to me. And I learned so many skills through certifying in so many ways to help people to shift safely and help people to achieve the goals that they've had a really hard time achieving in their life. And it has been by far, to date, the most fun, the most rewarding, the most enlightening, and the most humbling experience that I have been able to have. And so if any of you are my clients, my heart is just like so in it with you, so in it with you. And this topic today about moving from needing validation all the time to being able to just say what needs to be said for yourself, advocating for yourself, and moving forward knowing that you made the right choice, that you made a choice that is worth making. You're going to spend the money that's worth spending, all of those types of things. And so I would love to know my notes. Let me know if you've heard some of these phrases either come into your brain or come out of your mouth. I know that my post yesterday hit a lot of people because I had comments and people messaging me being like, oh my gosh, that's totally what happened to me. And I'm scared to not tell my husband about things. To me, that feels either disrespectful or dishonest, or, help me sift through what that means. And hey, Mary. So does this sound familiar? Say you're considering an online life coach. Would you go and say to your husband, hey, babe, what do you think about online coaches? Like, would you feel like you needed to ask him, even if you'd been following this person and you saw the value, you felt the value, and yet to actually invest and move forward with them, you felt you needed validation from somebody else? And what's really awesome is a lot of times most women that I talk to say, well, I know my husband's supportive. He'll probably say yes. But what happens is they go into the conversation thinking he's going to be skeptical, or they're projecting all of their fears. And so their husband is like, they're not sure. Like, if you go to them saying, I found this life coach, she's amazing, I agree with everything she says, her program is this, how can we make it work? I'm going to do that this year. Things are going to shift. This is my year. That's a whole different, like, I'm coming to you to tell you I'm doing this, let's work on it, versus I'm coming to you because I'm scared and I'm feeling vulnerable and I'm not sure. And then he might respond, well, what do you think? And then you spill out all of these fears. He goes, well, maybe you need to think about it then, right? Like, that's the normal response. If a kid came to me and told me all the worries and, well, maybe we don't have money, like, I would be like, okay, then you probably need to think about this decision. But if they come to me and they're like, Mom, I tried out for the play and it's this day, and I look at my calendar and I'm like, okay, that wasn't really in the plan, but they went ahead and did this thing. It means so much to them. Of course, you're going to make it work. Of course, you're going to make it work. Do you see? So a lot of times, if we go into a conversation where we want to make a decision for ourselves, this is how it was for me, right? And I would go and, well, honey, what do you think about online coaching? And he'd be, well, what do you think about it? Well, this is kind of what my experience has been. I don't really, do you need to think about it a little bit more? And then you go do what he says. Okay, yeah, he's right. I need to think about this a little bit more. I'm not clear. Like, when 10 minutes ago, you were so gung-ho about it. Like, how come we can't lean in to that initial feeling? And I will tell you, there is grounds to be really aware and say, have I been flighty? Have I done some things like enough to where my husband has grounds to be a little bit skeptical? Like, okay, you've done things in the past. Is this just another thing? But also, in an emotionally mature relationship, he's not going to treat you like a child. He's not going to be like, oh, honey, you've done a lot of things in the past, and I'm just not supporting you. And if that's your situation, you guys should probably look at marriage counseling, because your communication is not even. He feels superior. You feel he's superior. He can talk to you in a condescending way. Just know that that is a red flag that can be easily helped by going to counseling and learning about communication patterns. Highly suggest it. But if he comes to you as an equal and you have a really important goal, go to him with your surety. Just like he would. Oh my gosh, babe, I have the opportunity to promote at my job. I have to go to this training. And of course, in Christian culture, the woman says, of course, babe, of course, you go progress yourself. You go do that thing that is just going to make you feel amazing. And yet when we're going to go and progress, because maybe his goal was to provide, so he's providing for the family's needs, does that not include your needs? Like, really? If he had said that, I want to provide for the family's needs, and this is a Christian pattern that the male figure provides for the bulk of the family's financial needs. And I'm not saying that's how all of yours is, but that is the majority. It's the way that it's been for a long time, that the male provides. And so if he has said that, I would really encourage you to get clear with him and say, does that mean in your mind that your money is our money? And if I need to buy a shirt, if I need to go get some skincare, if I need to go to the doctor, if I need to get some counseling to help achieve my own personal goals, and maybe I want to go with this coach, or maybe I want to go and do this exercise thing, do you feel like you have to validate that with him? Or is it our money? I can make my choices. These are just some really good things. If you're taking notes, have these conversations with your spouse. And like I said, if it's not available to you to have these conversations, either you can do some work on yourself, read some really good books about communicating, or I highly suggest marriage counseling. It doesn't mean you have to be on the brink of divorce to go to marriage counseling. You can just say, look, we clearly are not communicating. I don't feel like I can advocate for myself. Something's happening. I need to feel like this is available to me. That is normal. It's healthy. Highly recommend. The other thing, like anything in that way. Hey, babe, what do you think about cloth diapers? Like if you're thinking about cloth diapering, I know what my husband would say. He'd be like, you do most of the diapers, you do what works, but to me, that sounds disgusting. My husband would totally be like, I know what he would say. We have very good communication, but if you're like, I really want to do this thing, I think it's going to help the environment, he'll probably say, great, go for it. But when it's my turn to change the diaper, you may have to give me some training. Like, are you prepared for all of that thing, right? And so, hey, what if you're a mom, you've got teenagers, and you call up your mom on the phone if that's available to you. Mom, my son is really struggling in school. What should I do? Well, she responds, and because she grew up in a whole different generation, you might be more confused than before. Maybe she'll give you some nuggets of wisdom. And then a lot of times, though, you feel even less capable. Like, I don't know. How did I not know the right thing to do for my kid? While it's great to call for support, it's all in what we think. Like, am I calling my mom? Can I be clear? Instead of just saying, what should I do? It's, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm thinking. Do you have any experience or something to add that can help guide me to make this the best it could possibly be? That's someone that stands in their power versus someone that is totally given it away to let mom step in and start making parental rules and guidelines for your family. And that's where boundaries start get crossed, and mom starts thinking she can start parenting the kids. That creates frustration with the husband. Like, a woman and a mother who cannot stand her ground confidently creates chaos within family relationships. This is so much more than just getting your needs met. It's about, moms have so much literal power within the family unit. We have such a divine gift for nurture and for seeing patterns and we have such a gift of being able to take in energies of our children and have so many schedules in our mind. And like, men, this is not just philosophical talking here. Men truly, they think different. They think very linear. They think very square. They go to work, they're in the work box. They come home, they're in the home box. They're in bed with their wife, they're in the wife box. Like, they don't many times think about all of the different things. They are not gifted with that ability. That's why it has lended in a natural way. They can go to a job and do something for many hours and be able to just turn it off, and they come home. It's actually really amazing. It's amazing. They can stick with a task and focus so amazingly with their brain that way. Men are higher in the inventor category because they can focus on something so long, and like, they're so much more immune to failure and like these different ideas. They just don't have as much intuition and thought process that can be processed quickly and like so much. And so just be aware that it's okay if men think different. It's okay if we think different. There's a purpose for that. Just know that you being able to say what needs to be said and stand your ground and not have to seek outside stuff will help your family quite a bit. You have such a realm of influence there. So here's another one. So you go to your neighbor, you have a really good neighbor, and maybe it's the summer and you're talking outside as you were putting the kids' bikes away or something, right? That's how neighbors get together in my neighborhood anyway. Like, hey, I was thinking of starting this online business. Like, have you heard of this brand? Whatever it might be that's really hot at that time. Like, and all of a sudden they're like, they respond and agree with you on the spot, and they're just like, oh yeah, this is so great. Like, you should totally do it, and da da da. Or, oh, I've heard of this brand and it sucks. And I've heard of doing that thing. And I think you should be really cautious. And then you go home and you're like, oh yeah, they're right. Like, then you're more aimless and anxious. You know what I mean? If you really took what they said as this is how I should think, you know? And I know in our last class, when we were talking about the power of mindset and how we think, was when I realized like it really does all start in here. And this idea of having to seek validation, moving to backing yourself and standing for yourself, it all comes full circle, right? All these things that are in my classes, you're learning, like this is teaching us how to be an individual. In Christian culture, a lot of times that is not talked about. We're talked about support. We're talked about raising the kids. We're told about doing. We're not talked about being. And if you're taking notes, write that down. There's a difference between doing. There's a difference between being. There's a difference when you're doing the things to be a mom versus how you are as a mom. Okay? There's a difference to how you're being as a daughter-in-law to how the things you think you should do as a daughter-in-law. And that can stretch your brain a little bit. When I first learned those kind of concepts, it stretched my brain a little bit. I was like, what are you talking about? But it does. It helps us with how we're projecting and what we're doing when we are clear on what we are in this role. Here's another place where, unfortunately, a lot of women give away their power is in the doctor's office, especially where a lot of professionals are male. It seems to be a little less daunting when the professional is a female. But like, hey, doctor, I have this issue, or my kid has this issue, help me out. And instead of, you know, this is what I've seen. I'm going to do kind of, for me, I do an 80-20 at this point. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take 80% of what they say and 20% I'm using my intuition. But a lot of women give 100% power to the doctor. Oh, you want to poke my kid? Oh, you want to take his blood? Oh, you think we need to admit him to the hospital? Oh, okay. And we just go with it because we're so emotionally overwhelmed. We're so unsure with our own that we totally dismiss our intuition and we just go with what the doctor says. And I'm not saying there's times when the doctor's right. I'm just saying that there are a lot of women that go through with testing or things with their kids that they then regret, like, I had this feeling that we shouldn't have done it. Why didn't I lean into it? But we get scared. And if we haven't practiced being strong like this, we give our power away. And our kids see that. It becomes a generational pattern. Okay. So I see really good stuff going on in the chat. You guys are sharing experiences where this has come up for you in your life, where you're seeing evidence of this. This is awesome. I really appreciate the comments. When do you decide to have confidence in yourself and remove the need to validate everything that you do? Really early on, guys. As early on as you recognize this pattern in yourself, I highly encourage you to start shifting. And I'm going to teach you 5 things to help make that shift in just a little bit. But I want to really just drive home the importance that if you are modeling as the mother in a home, as a wife, that you give away your power in that position, it will continue. Your daughters will give away their power earlier. Your sons even don't know where to stand with their power. Their integrity wavers, especially as teenagers. I have seen evidence of it. I've read enough stuff. I've seen clients, like, this is a thing. So I've seen my older 3 kids struggle to advocate for themselves, excuse me. They feel like they have no choice in so many things. And I know that's because in their formative years, I gave away so much of my power. That's what they learned. School is a prison. Church is hard. Like, all of these things I modeled to them. We just have to do it. We just have to do it. It was this push energy. We just have to do it. Like, I don't have a choice. My younger 2 are very much like, oh, excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom. Oh, excuse me, my leg is hurting. I'm not going to do that activity. Where my older three are like, oh, I had to suffer through PE with a sick stomach. I'm like, why didn't you tell your teacher? I didn't think they would listen to me. And I'm like, hey, let's go back to the drawing board. Let me teach you about advocating because I know you didn't see it as a kid. They didn't see their mom make a decision and stand up. I would wait and talk to grandma. I would wait and talk to my husband. I would sit and struggle and not know. And this takes practice. Be gentle with yourself. This takes time. If this is how you are, just know that it's important for you to shift if you don't want this to continue. Okay? It really is important. It takes practice, but start now. What if we believed in ourselves? What if we trusted our inner knowing? What if we believed that Heavenly Father isn't going to let us be like harmed? He's going to challenge us to grow. What if we walked by faith instead of fear? We have so much more say in our lives than we are led to believe by politicians, by doctors, by our husbands, like whoever it is. If we haven't developed this pattern, we have so much more. You guys, you always have a choice. Please, like, put that on somewhere big. You always have a choice. Even if the doctor says, if you don't do this procedure, your child is going to die. Like, you still have a choice to go get a second opinion. And I highly recommend that you do if any doctor tells you that his way is the only way. It's been my experience that that is not true. And there are other way more or less invasive or traumatizing experiences. But because that doctor has that experience, he's obligated to say that. You always have a choice. Always. You always have a choice. Always, 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 always. Just this morning, my teenage son, who's been sick this week, and I have compassion for that, but I also know that he was bullied last week. And he has been, in my motherhood intuition, I can tell he has not wanted to go to school this week. And so his illness has been really bad. I know that. But today I told him, I said, you've been making a decision every day that this is so bad. But as your mother, I've been watching you and I see evidence that you can get up, that you can eat food, that you can survive. You sit in a chair most of the day at your school. I think you're going to be okay to go to school today. And he fought me on it and fought me on it, but I knew it was a decision. Once he knew I was not going to let down, like that I think he needs to go, this is going to be good, he got mad because I knew then he'd made the choice. He made the choice. He got up, got his lunch together, put his backpack together, put his laptop in there. He was all mad and slammed the door on the way out, right? But I knew he'd made a decision at that point. I knew he'd made the choice. But I had to help him realize the choices he was making and where it was going, to the point where he made a choice to be different, to suck it up, whatever he decided it was, and go to school. And it's hard as a mom. It was hard for me to watch him do that, knowing that he's not 100% well, but he's not contagious. Like, guys, he hasn't gone to school for a week. Like, he's okay. He's going to survive. But to help our kids make a different decision, realizing how much it's our choice. It's our choice. So many times we say, oh, I'm so tired. I have fatigue. I don't have time. Realize that is a choice you're making. Everything in your life is a choice. It really is. Even if, like, one time I was really tired, I'd been up all night with the baby and I was laying on my bed and I was like supposed to kind of be doing some of these other things that I was going to do that day that really needed to be done. And I was like, oh, but I'm tired. I'm going to give myself some just time to lay down. I'm so tired. I can't do these other tasks that were really important. And all of a sudden my phone dings a reminder. And it's like, you're in charge of preschool treats today. And I was like, crap. So I lay there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to start preschool carpool in 15 minutes. How am I going to get to the store to get a preschool snack? I had nothing in my house at that day. Like, all of a sudden, guess what happened? Guess who had energy? That all of a sudden before, she had no energy to do these other tasks. Popped out of bed. I ran to a gas station that's like a mile from my house and bought little cracker peanut butter things. You know what I mean? Like, and I came home and got my daughter preschool. And you know what was crazy? I had insane energy after that for the rest of the day. It was a decision that I was making. But I had given my power over to these tasks that weren't really awesome, that I didn't really want to do. And so I decided that I was tired. Like, isn't that interesting how powerful our mind is? But if something like is so important, my kids all of a sudden on fire, all of a sudden I have energy. And that energy all of a sudden stays and I get my crap done. It's amazing how this is our choice. And the reason I'm sharing some of those experiences is to let you know that this advocating for ourselves, being an individual first, standing up for yourself is a choice. And unfortunately, it's a choice not a lot of us made or saw modeled, how to make choices for ourselves all the time. So what are some of the things that you ask about? I would love for you guys to be, and if you're taking notes, like, what are things you constantly ask about? Awareness is the first step to changing anything. You've got to be able to witness it for yourself. You've got to be able to see what it is. Do you always ask about money, like purchases? Can I buy pants? Can we buy this kid's shoes? Can I do this coaching program? Can I invest in this skincare? Can I go get this vocational certification so that I can start a side business or get a promotion at my job? Can I buy this coat? Like, what are some of the things that you find yourself asking a lot? Do you ask about discipline for your kids? Do you find yourself calling your mom all the time, or your aunt, or going to your neighbors? Or, what are the things you feel like you can't make a decision without asking people? It's different for everybody. Some people are really good about, oh, I don't have a problem asking for that, blah, blah, blah. But I would also go back in your mind. Like, even if these scenarios I've brought up, you're like, I don't have a problem with that. Why? When? How did you know? Who modeled it to you? Did you have an experience where you got walked on and forevermore you said, I will not be walked on about that? Everybody has experiences like that, right? Go back through and figure out what changed and when, if possible. What are the things I ask about all the time? And what are some of the things I don't have to ask about? And what's the difference? Did someone model this to me? Did I have a traumatic experience? When I went through through my surgery with my last baby, I learned a lot about advocating for myself. I learned a heck of a lot, that I had power to tell a nurse to leave my room if I did not want her in there. The hospital was not a prison where I had to just do whatever they said. If I needed to sleep and I didn't want them to come take my vitals, I could actually tell them no. Did you guys know that? Like, you don't have to do everything they say. That's what they are told to do. But if the patient says no, they are to respect that. So it's really interesting, all the things I've learned how to advocate. I've learned how to battle for our medical bills on a phone call. Like, so many things that I'm like, I don't think I've ever paid our deductible in full. Like, because I've learned how to negotiate. That's how I know why I don't get walked on in those scenarios, because I've been through enough, asked enough questions that it's like, oh, of course I can do that. I don't need my husband there to wonder if I can advocate for a bill. I just call him, So then on this list that you've made of like the things you have to ask about, why do I have to ask my husband about this? If I have the money in our account, we trust each other with what we spend. Why can't I just say, I invested in this thing, the end, and be so elated for yourself? Not that there won't be some nervousness for something that's new, but what is there? What's there? What are you afraid of? What's holding you back? And so I would take those things like, what's holding me back from asking about this? I don't understand. Really start doing some self-awareness exercise here. And the second question I would ask is, what if I did know? What if I did know how to deal with this? What if I had all the resources to be able to just say yes to this thing? What if my success was a surety? What if I could not fail? How would I do things differently? Borrow belief from your future self that knows these things. I know that sounds crazy. We're going to explore that a little bit more in just a little minute. But then what would you do? Would you need to tell anybody? I will tell you that as I've shifted this for myself, the people I tell when I'm going to do a new certification I'm really excited about, and I want to tell someone, I make the decision, I do it, then I go to my safe support group of people that I know are going to cheer me on for it. They're not going to ask me to validate my decision. They're going to go, oh, we're so happy for you. They will celebrate me to the 10th degree. I've had to cultivate that kind of support, like truly. And so, starting to know, do I not have support like this? Do I not have a safe space for this? Do I not have somebody, someone, some circle of people like this, to where if I start a new business, they're going to be my first customers. Like, they're going to pay full price and not ask for a discount. Like, who are these people in your life that are full on? And like, I hope it's your husband. I really do. I hope you guys are both ultimate cheerleaders for each other. Amy says, how can you develop that trust between each other with money in the first place without asking permission and talking to each other? So that's something, that's awesome. Great question. Marriage counseling is great. I know they talk about money, whatever. In my experience and from our things that we've been through, it was something we had to be intentionally talking about. Like, I had to sit with my spouse and say, look, I feel worried when I'm trying to spend this. Do you feel worried about that? And take his answer at face value. If he says no, I don't question any further. I'm like, okay, so you said no. What I'm hearing is when I go buy these things, you aren't going to question me about it. Right. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, laying down this, again, this is a great place to gain awareness. What are the things I feel like I couldn't spend without my husband feeling a certain way? And do I think if he spent that money, what would I think? Always take it back to yourself too. What will I think if he was free to spend this kind of money? What will I think? How will I feel? And make sure and get those things out on the table. And I'll tell you an experience. Really early on in our marriage, we've been married 3-4 years. And we were not doing well financially, like at all. Talking about bottom of the barrel, making our food stretch, like $5 in the checking account type stuff. And I was trying to work this side job. My husband was working a job. He was getting ready to go into grad school. And he comes home one day and he sits down on the couch and he's like, well, I went and got new tires for the car. And I put it on the credit card. And I'm standing in the kitchen and I'm making dinner, like my back is to him. And I could just feel a fire. I was so like, oh my gosh, how could he do that? And yet, thank the Lord, the Spirit quite literally was like, Robin, this is an important moment, how you respond. This is so important. So I sat there for a minute, gathering my calmness, gathering my most compassionate thoughts. And I thought, okay, he knows our money situation. He's a big boy. If he thought that that was so important to go get new tires because winter's coming and he wants us to be safe, right? I was thinking all the good things. So I turned around to him and I said, wow, well, I know you know our money situation. So if that was really important to you, I'm glad you did that for the safety of our family. And I turned back around and started making dinner again with deep breaths. Like, seriously. But I will tell you that that was a pivotal moment that obviously to this day, I have never forgotten. Because that was the day that things shifted within our relationship because of how I responded. And he was like, oh, and he even told me later, he's like, I was really surprised. I thought you were going to freak out on me. I'm like, well, I kind of wanted to, but it wouldn't have solved anything. And it really changed our relationship, like even on so many levels, for me to trust him that way. And I know that, I mean, it didn't solve all our problems, you know, but like that was a pivotal moment for me to decide to let him own up that he was a big boy and that he knows our situation. If that's what he needed to do, that's what he needed to do. Like, and from then on, it was different. It was very different when we would talk about that. So let's talk about the 5 things. You guys excited to hear about the 5 things to start shifting this? We've talked about so many different perspectives already. You might already have a page of notes, but I wanted to give you 5 steps to just start experimenting. And please realize, shifting, if you've done this for your whole life, maybe even seeking validation from your parents as a child, you weren't modeled this. Like, if this is a new experience for you, please lean into the idea that that's what this is. It is going to be experimental. This is going to be something you have to try several times while it's going to have to sink in. You're going to have to literally build evidence for your brain to see that this is a good thing. Like, it's going to take time, but I can testify a million times over that this is healthy, that this is good, that this is a key to reaching goals. This is a key for you to model the importance of advocating for you, being able to have purchasing power, being able to have and be able to move forward in life with autonomy for yourself, because you're an individual first. So the first thing that I want to tell you to do is experiment. Do a really good experiment. Pick one of these things that you always ask about and stop. And like in my post yesterday, when I decided to get my coach certification and decided to do this stuff, I was like, Robin, don't tell anyone. Don't tell anybody. I didn't tell my husband. I told no one. I told no one. Now, my husband works away from home, so he didn't see it. If he would have saw it and been like, what are you doing? I'd been like, I'm getting a coach certification. But where our marriage is, he would have said, cool, and left. And I would have wanted to like discuss it, and have this thing. I was like, no, this is what you want to do. You've been confirmed by the Spirit so many times. Just do this and don't say anything. That was a huge, huge experiment for me. But I had been told and had this said so many times that I needed to do this. So do an experiment on something. Stop asking for validation on something. Really, some of the things that you ask about all the time. And do an experiment, whether that's going out and buying a pair of shoes, something small, and just see what your husband says. Maybe he'll say nothing. See what your mom says about you making a decision that you normally will ask her about first, and if it's something she's always like, I don't know, make your own choice. Like, if you can hear in people's voices that they are like, I'm leaving the choice up to you, then make the choice. Don't always go back to, oh, but I want to do what's good for you, and like making yourself the doormat for whatever they want. If they're giving you the choice, take it and make it. Own your decisions 100%. An example of this, my mother-in-law loves to have us come up to eat on fast Sundays. And she always calls and we talk about how we're coming. And then I say, can I bring something? Because I like to do that. And she's usually like, oh, whatever you want. And I said, okay, then I'm bringing the fruit, which is not something I normally bring. I normally bring a dessert or something like that I have to make. But this week, my boundary said, you're not doing any extra stuff this weekend. Like, I have a bunch of fruit in my fridge. I'm like, I'm bringing fruit. And she was like, oh, okay, cool. And I could tell that was a little different for her, but that was what I needed. And she gave me the choice. And so I did it. I brought a bowl of fruit and it was awesome. And I'm doing it more and more and more and more, realizing how many times people are giving me a decision, like they're giving me the choice, but how many times I wasn't taking it. I'd be like, oh no, you tell me. Like, dude, I'm going to do what's going to work for me. And lo and behold, my life has been simpler. I'm happier. I'm not overworked. I don't feel stressed. Like, it's amazing. So choose something you always ask about. And if it's with your husband, first, ask him if he actually wants to be asked about that thing. Like, do you care if I go buy a pair of shoes? Find out. And if he says no, then go buy a pair of shoes and then don't say anything. Do you care if I go get a vocational certificate without saying anything to you? No, why would I care about that? Or, well, if it's going to take time from the family, I think it'd be good if you discussed how much time it's going to take. Notice a lot of times they won't say, well, if it's going to cost $70,000. You know what I mean? There's a level of trust there. And like Amy, maybe you're going to need to have some of those base conversations to say, do we have a spend cap? Do we talk to each other about this? Or am I just like living in fear all the time, thinking that our values are the same? And then I get upset when he buys something more expensive than me. Like, get that out on the table. Really get it out on the table. If this is a husband-wife thing most of the time. And then document this. Make a goal to not say anything for like 2 or 3 weeks. If it's something that you did that you're like, you can come into this group and talk to us about it. Like, I did this thing, guys. This is how I'm feeling. We're all going to know. It's going to be awesome. You can even put it in the comments of this group so that it's within the people that have watched and will understand. And document how you feel. How did it go? Was it easy? Was it hard? Like, really journal out these feelings. So that's number 1. Do an experiment. Ask the questions. Do one thing and see how it goes. And this number 2 was what I mentioned earlier. Start building a case for yourself. Start going with your decision and just do it. If you feel like you want to buy that brand of toilet paper, don't look up on your phone what's the best brand of toilet paper. Just buy the brand of toilet paper. Like, you know what I mean? How often do you seek for validation for like everything? Just go with it and see. And if it turns out to be a bad purchase, like that did not work, then you have information now and you will never not know or wonder. It's going to be okay. $4 here and there is not going to make or break your life. You know what I mean? So start building a case for yourself. I really suggest a notebook that when you make great decisions, write it down. I made this choice and it was so great and it helped my life in this way. Start building an evidence file for your brain that you are capable of doing this. You do make wise decisions. You will make great decisions. Start a book of wins. I give you one in the Elevated Mother Experience program, and we explore this idea a lot. We work on it a lot because the reason a lot of us don't do this, number 1, it wasn't modeled, right? But we have no evidence that it's going to help us, but we've built plenty of evidence of why this is good. This felt safe. And yet we have other evidence over here, like, how come I have to go to him all the time? Like, there's something nagging. How come I can't make a decision by myself? I see these people walking through life, just making decisions and having autonomy, and I want that. So then you go, well, maybe this isn't working so well for me as I thought. Do you want to end up on your deathbed never having made a decision in your whole life? Maybe you do. And maybe this class isn't for you, but that is not how I am. And it was hurting me, right? It wasn't something that was serving me to live this way. So start building a case for yourself and document. I made a great decision with the kids today, and this is what happened, and this is why. Oh man, I bought this thing. I was worried about what my husband thought. He totally was excited about it. This is how it went. Oh my goodness, I made this decision about my kid's illness. Like, start writing this stuff down. Create a book of wins for yourself. When you do something amazing and it works out really well, an awareness you had, I finally became aware of this. That's a win. Write those things down. Number 3, your routine in your life and how much self-care you give is huge for telling your brain that these kind of things are even important. If you always are a doormat, and it doesn't matter if you're ready, and it doesn't matter how much sleep you got, and it doesn't matter if you're the last one to eat and you don't get the thing, if it doesn't matter if you're the one that has to ride in the car by themselves when everyone else, because there wasn't enough seat, like, that is not supporting you as an individual if those things don't align. Like, if you're home alone, do you eat last? I mean, you know what I mean? Do you go and scrounge and you never get what you want? Like, because you think that's better? Really look at the routine in which you live your life. Do you put yourself last? And why? Why do you do that? And more importantly, what we discussed earlier, like, you're modeling that. You're modeling that for your girls and your boys. They're seeing where the women's place is. And if that hasn't been working for you, then you get to stop modeling that. Create a routine in your life that supports you. Back yourself in your health. Get up and go stretch. Go for a walk. Like, don't exercise for weight loss and body image. Exercise because it is proven to help with energy and getting your lymph system moving for immunity. When your body is physically well, Your brain can do all sorts of experimentation and stretching and growing and expanding. Same with your spirit. Exercise is not, I'd say weight loss and that kind of stuff is a byproduct of just being well. Your body will shed excess weight when you feel well. It just will. There's reasons it's holding on. Okay. So exercising, drinking water, eating live foods like fresh fruits and vegetables that still have the power of the sun in them. They haven't been pulverized or crushed into a weird shape to make something, like, or added all these artificial things to make something, like eat as much live foods as possible. Liven yourself up. If you want pretty skin, you know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be a $300 skincare regimen as much as it could be a 39-cent apple. Like, these things are really true. They really are. Start listening to music every day. Music is so powerful for the rhythm of our hearts and the calmness of our bodies. Start reading good books. I have stacks of good books and Audible, and fill your mind with good thoughts and good things about advocating and about abundance. Like, if you want to think different kind of thoughts, put different stuff in there. Start going out and putting your face in the sun. I know where a lot of us live, it's really cold right now, but when that sun peeks through, go outside and just put on your coat and let your face and your neck and whatever you can expose get some sunlight every day. There are receptors inside of our eyes that tell us if we've seen sunlight. And it helps with the rhythm of melatonin being released in our body and serotonin being released in our body. And if we never see the sun, those receptors actually never click on and our circadian rhythm can get off. And our good and peaceful, calm feelings can get really out of whack. I don't know if you knew that, but it's true. So get out into the sun, especially the morning sun, and really open your eyes and just like look around in the world to keep your body on that rhythm. So creating a routine that supports you, because we don't always have that safe, awesome support group, but we can start to create a safety for ourselves where if we make a decision or we're doing some expansion and we're learning, we can be supported physically so that we can be supported mentally. We're changing this. This was so key for me for shifting a lot of things mentally, was that I had support coming from myself, that I created a supportive atmosphere, created a supportive routine for myself. That's number 3. Number 4, being really, really honest about where you're seeking validation. I know we talked about making lists, but really get honest, get so real. Ask your mom, ask your best friend, ask your spouse, ask 3 or 4 really close people to you and say, I'm working on not seeking validation all the time. I know you're someone I talk to a lot. What are some of the things that you hear I say? Be willing to hear it from other people, especially your spouse, like whoever it is that you're talking to a lot, that is you've been giving your power to. Get really real with that and ask them, what do I ask your validation on that you truly think I don't need to ask on? And they may need some time to think, but ask your mom, like, are there things I ask you that you think I shouldn't ask you about? Like, are you worried about that? I remember asking my mom that question and she had a list. She's like, oh yeah, you called me about this and this and this. And I've been worried that you have like anxiety or something. And I'm like, yeah. Like, I had to take that in. And even my husband, he's like, yeah, I don't know why you constantly ask me about this thing about dinner or about the kids or he's like, just tell me. It's not, I don't need to know the details. And I was like, I kind of felt like, oh, I thought I was like doing this great thing. And it wasn't helping anybody. And so I had to allow myself to know those things about myself. And that's hard. But I will tell you, the level of growth and expansion you experience in your life is parallel to what you are willing to face and hear and change and experiment on and do. Okay. So that was number 4. Get really real with where you're seeking validation to the point where you ask your closest people, what do I come to you about? And do you think that I'm capable of making those decisions? Like, is this a thing? I'm working on it. I want to know. So be prepared. It can kind of feel personally attacking a little bit. Have a safe place, right? Create a container for yourself to just say, I'm exploring this. I'm exploring this. That's why I love the Elevated Mother Experience, because that is a safe container where we share all the things. And people love that group. They're like, oh, I love coming in here knowing everybody is doing this together. It's that safe container. And then number 5, celebrate yourself. We've talked about creating the evidence, but celebrate. Celebrate how wise and capable you are. You made a choice that was right, and it might have felt risky. You moved forward knowing this is what I'm doing, and I'm doing it myself. Celebrate that. If you have a mentor, message them with a big confetti emoji and be like, I did it. I'm making this decision. I'm going forward. And if you don't have that person in your life, message me. I would love to cheer you on. I made this decision. I did it for myself. I invested, or I moved forward, or I told the doctor this, or whatever it is, when your intuition and your spirit is saying, I'd like to have a voice here, and you give it that, write it in that book of wins, and then celebrate with somebody. Celebrate so fully. That was something I didn't do for a long time. I did these other steps, but it was so serious. And it was so I have to do this work. It was a very instead of dance party, and I would just really excited. At that time I had a mentor, and I would dance with her and be like, it was awesome. And I would go out and do something with my kids. I'd be like, I reached a huge goal today. Let's go get frozen yogurt. Celebrate that. Celebrate so much. It feels sometimes foreign to celebrate like that when we've been a doormat for too long. Just like when you're potty training a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old, however your kids were, but when they go in the potty, you have to be freaking out, doing a dance party, dancing around in the bathroom with them, boost those endorphins. So girlfriend, when you do this stuff, celebrate the heck out of it. When my people in Elevated Mother Experience are having wins, they know this. They're probably smiling while I'm talking. I'm like, oh my gosh, do you notice that? This is so exciting. And write this down. And they kind of smile oh, that's so weird. Robin's so excited, because for them, they haven't practiced being excited about themselves yet for a long time. And we need to learn to celebrate ourselves. Let's model celebrating ourselves. If you haven't done that and you showed up to this class, that's worth celebrating. Turn on the music and dance around. And the kids say, Mom, what's going on? You say, you know what? I learned something today for me that I'm so excited about. You want to come celebrate with me? Heck, pull out the apple juice and have a cheers. I'm serious about this, you guys. How you celebrate yourself, celebrate just as much as if you're celebrating with your kid when they get their first A or whatever you choose to celebrate. You're so excited for them. Show them that they can be excited for you too. When I first reached one of my biggest business goals, I took all my kids out to breakfast, and they're like, Mom, we're celebrating you. I'm like, I know, isn't that just so fun? And they're like, we haven't done that before. And I'm like, I know, but this is the first of many. And so now when I reach a goal, I go out and I dance in the living room. I'm like, guys, I reached my goal. And they're like, good job, Mom. They have learned to cheer me on. They see that as a normal behavior in our home. And we cheer Dad on when he does something amazing. And they've learned to cheer each other on when they do something amazing. It's so fun. It is so fun to see that since I've been celebrating myself, they're celebrating each other more. They're celebrating, and they know it's worth celebrating. Mom, I did this thing. And they know we're going to celebrate. At prayer time, at nighttime, we pray for each other. Who has a test this week? Who's struggling? Who's a little bit sick? And we say their name and pray for them. Guys, that's so powerful. And when I need to be prayed for, I say, guys, I'm struggling with some work stuff. I'm struggling with this thing I just learned about. Can we pray for me tonight? Yes, absolutely. This whole not seeking validation and learning to be me, like I said, it comes full circle. And it can start with finances. It can start with your kids. It can start in so many different areas. But I know from talking to so many people who are considering the Elevated Mother Experience, that it's not just the elevated mother experience that they are used to not being able to make a decision about. It's a lot of things. It's a pattern within your lives. And so I want to make sure and touch on this, that whether or not you join elevated mother experience, whatever, but if this is a pattern in your life, it is going to affect every other area with your kids, your spouse. Like, this is a thing. You've got to start backing your own decisions, start backing your own growth, start saying yes to your needs. It really is possible. It really is possible. Don't give your power away. Bring it back in. Reclaim who you are. Start celebrating that you're here on earth with a life to live and plenty of awesomeness to do so. There is a different way to be. Christy says, I'm tearing up because I'm realizing how often I share in others' joy, but I have myself on the back burner. It's hitting you. This is something you get to work on. And how awesome you're aware of it so you can change it. How awesome you made the choice to be here today, to be empowered to change this now. Amy says, that sounds wonderful. I can totally picture the joy and love, and I'm tearing up. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad you guys are sharing these thoughts. This is so important. It's like such a passion for why I'm doing what I'm doing. There are so many moms behind closed doors out there, you guys, that are not celebrating. It's a have to, it's a push, it's I don't, it's I can't. Like, let's start standing up and showing how we are an individual first. Start making some decisions for yourself. Take these 5 things and start making the shift. And by all means, if you're ready to really shift and have the accountability, have the safe container, come join us in Elevated Mother Experience. Those that are in there can advocate how powerful that can be when you step into that for yourself and say, this is what I'm doing. And you spend money on you and you move in the direction of something you know you need to do. That's awesome. Let's chat. Let's get on a call. Let's talk about it. Siri says, I often ask my kids to pray for specific things, and I love it when I get a call or text from one of them asking for prayers for themselves or family. It is so powerful. What a beautiful example. What a beautiful example. And Siri has been in the Elevated Mother Experience, and she's on her way to expanding her whole things that she's been doing. And she's a grandmother. It is never too late to shift things. Never. What a beautiful example. All right, our time is just about up. Love the comments today, you guys. This class is so powerful. Stepping into backing yourself will change everything. It is like so much of what we see our kids go through. Like, I know I've like hashed this at this point, but it's really important to me. If you have more experiences to share, please put them in the comments. If you do the experiment, we would love to hear. And if you need more direction on it, message me. I'm open to be messaged. Okay. All right. Have a powerful weekend, and we'll see you guys later.